Hey friend, welcome to Receipts and Reflections After the Hustle. This is a space for real conversations about life, business, healing, motherhood, and growth. I'm Charlisa, and I've lived enough life to know that hustle might get you started, but reflection is what helps you evolve. Some stories come with receipts, because y'all know I keep me some receipts. Some come with lessons. Either way, you're safe here, friend. So take a breath, get settled, and let's talk. Hey, friend. Welcome back to Receipts and Reflections After the Hustle. Today's episode is for the woman who started growing and suddenly noticed that the room felt different. Whew. Same you, same heart, same intentions, but the energy shifted. People started acting funny. The comments got slick. The support got real quiet. The vibes got even weirder. And you found yourself thinking, wait, did I do something? So we're going to talk about that. I want to start by saying this very clearly. Not everyone is triggered by your growth because they hate you. I'm not saying that at all. Hear me. Some people are triggered because your growth reflects something that they're avoiding. And that realization can sting. Now, I remember the first time that I really noticed it. I didn't announce anything. I didn't make a big speech. I didn't post a manifesto. I just started moving differently. You know, I've grown. I've gone through my healing. I've chosen to be a different person. And I just started moving differently. I started saying no faster. I started explaining less. I didn't react the way that I used to. And suddenly the temperature in the room dropped. The jokes felt pointed. You know, they always say that behind every joke is a little bit of truth, and and the jokes felt different. The encouragement felt conditional. The "I'm so happy for you" didn't quite reach the eyes. And I remember thinking, why does this feel uncomfortable for them? Now, here's the thing nobody tells you when you're healing. Growth doesn't just change you. It changes dynamics. And some people were very comfortable with the version of you that overextended, overexplained, overgave, stayed quiet. That version made other people feel secure. So when you grow and stop performing those roles, it disrupts the system. But let's keep this light, but very honest. Some people really did like you better when you needed them. They liked you better when you doubted yourself, when you asked for permission, when you played small. And it's not because they're evil, but because your growth forces comparison. And comparison makes people feel very uncomfortable. Now, here's where it gets funny in hindsight. Like, you'll notice people start saying things like, "Oh, wow, you've changed. You're different." Or, "You just don't come around like you used to." And at first you start panicking. You start auditing yourself. Like, am I being rude? Am I cold? Am I being selfish? No. You're just not bending anymore. Let me say this gently, but so clearly. Some people confuse access with closeness. When you reduce access, they feel rejected, even if the relationship is still intact. And instead of asking for reassurance or adjusting to the new version of you, they project. And here's the gut punch part. Friendly but firm, because I love y'all. Not everyone who claps for you is cheering. Some people are going to stay clapping just to stay close enough to critique. And that realization took me a minute because I wanted everyone to come with me. I wanted for the growth to be collective, but healing taught me something else. Growth is often individual first. It's often individual. And there was a moment when I realized that I was shrinking myself again. Not dramatically, but subtly. I was downplaying my wins. I was softening my boundaries. I was explaining choices that I really did not need to explain. And I caught myself and thought, why am I making myself smaller to make other people more comfortable? And that's when I knew this wasn't about me being unkind. This was about me being clear. So let me say this part loud for the people in the back. Your growth does not require approval. Your healing does not need consensus. And your peace is not a group project. Here's what growth actually looks like in real life. It's quieter. It's calmer. It's less reactive, friend. You don't argue as much. You don't explain as much. And you don't chase closure. And that silence makes people uncomfortable because they were used to access. And I'm going to balance this out because we've grown. Not every reaction is jealousy. Sometimes people are triggered because they're grieving the old dynamic. And that grief is theirs to process. You don't have to shrink to ease it. Okay? What I know now is this. When you grow, you have two options. Shrink to keep people comfortable, or stand firm and let them adjust. And I've learned that the right people always adjust. They might need time, but they adjust. And here's how you know that you're doing it right. You're going to feel more peace. You feel less resentment. You feel more aligned, even if the room feels quieter. Quiet is not loss. Sometimes it's clarity. Okay? So before we close, we're going to sit with this. No judgment, just truth. Who reacted differently when you started growing? Where did you start doubting yourself instead of trusting the shift? And what would it look like to let people feel uncomfortable without trying to fix it? You're not responsible for managing other people's reactions to your evolution. You're responsible for honoring it. And growth does not need permission. And it definitely, most definitely, doesn't need an apology. I hope that this resonated with you. I hope that you have an amazing week going forward. And I'll meet you back here next Monday. Until next time, friend. Before we close, thank you for sharing this moment with me. If something from today's episode stayed with you, whether it be a thought, a feeling, a reflection, I hope you give yourself space to sit with it. These conversations are meant to meet you where you are, not to rush you, and definitely not to fix you. Be gentle with yourself this week, sis. I'll meet you right back here next Monday. This is Receipts and Reflections After the Hustle, because after the hustle, we slow down and we choose peace.